Today I'm reviewing my 2014 Subaru XV Crosstrek. I've owned my Crosstrek for just under a year and have put just over 11,000 miles on it. I was attracted to the Subaru Crosstrek because of the good styling. The Crosstrek is really just a crossover version of the Subaru Impreza. And the only real difference between the two models is the wheels, the plastic body molding, and the suspension. Crosstrek has a few inches of additional clearance that give it a more aggressive styling and allow you to go on some very mild dirt roads and gravel roads. I was also attracted to the Crosstrek because of the good gas mileage. It's rated at about 25 in the city and 33 on the highway for the automatic transmission, which this is. And the manual transmission actually gets a little bit lower gas mileage. And in general, I'd say that I average just over 30 miles per gallon in combined driving, with city mileage sitting in the middle to upper 20s and highway mileage in the low 30s. This is the limited model of the Subaru Crosstrek, which comes with the rear backup camera and leather seats. It's also fitted with an automatic transmission. Those options add an additional $2,000 to $2,500 to the price. For us, that was important, primarily because the leather just protects the condition of the car a little bit more from spills and from odors. So far in our first year of ownership, we've had no issues mechanically or with electronics. The only issue that we have had that we had to take it into the dealer for was with the plastic molding here at the door. There was a little bit of separation from the metal on the door. Took it in and they were able to just replace a couple of the plastic attachments that they use to keep that attached to the metal. Otherwise, it's been a great car. There are a few things that I wish that I could change. The first of those is the name. I like the name Crosstrek, but in fullness, the name of the Subaru Crosstrek is actually the XV Crosstrek. For those of you that don't know, XV stands for Cross Vehicle. So really the name of this car is the Subaru Cross Vehicle Crosstrek, which is repetitive and really just kind of pointless. The other thing that I wish that I could change about the car is the stereo system. The limited model is fitted with an HD radio. Honestly, I don't know what that means or what it does to improve the sound quality, because the sound quality is pretty much garbage. In all fairness, I've never really been in any Subaru that has a good stereo, and I'm used to Audis, which typically come with either a Bose or Bang & Olufsen. And even the stock systems in those cars are pretty nice. But then again, you're also comparing a car that runs an MSRP around $22,000 to $28,000 in the Subaru compared to $35,000 or $40,000 in an Audi A4. So, there's certainly a cost savings that you get for that. I really like the interior of the Crosstrek. I think it's very simple yet very refined. The screen for the backup camera is a little bit small. I think that they can make that a little bigger. And if you get the highest end model of the Crosstrek, it does come with a larger screen, as well as GPS. This model is not fitted with the GPS system. The Crosstrek also has really big mirrors, and I like that. It makes it a lot easier passing, keeping an eye on blind spots, just general safety. On the Impreza, I think that it looks way too big. In the back seat, the seats in the Crosstrek do fold down just about flat. Not quite, but pretty close. Really increases the cargo capacity quite a bit when they're down. That's one thing about the Crosstrek that you do get as a trade-off from being kind of a sporty hatchback is that in the back there's very little space. You can't fit a whole lot in here, and with the angle of the window, it allows, or doesn't allow you to put kind of taller objects in here. So that's kind of a downside, but you know, it's a trade-off of styling and functionality. If you wanted to, you could get a Subaru Forester and look like an idiot, but I guess the trade-off is to get a Crosstrek and feel like an idiot for buying a car that really isn't that functional for cargo space, so it's a trade-off. I like the wheels on the Crosstrek. If you look up close, they're pretty simple and bare, but from a distance, they give it a nice kind of rugged, sporty look, and I like that. This model does have the factory rails. Some of them come with crossbars as well. Ours did not, but it actually looks a little bit nicer with the Yakima crossbars. Having a rack on your Subaru is really a right to ownership, so we had to get ours fitted ASAP. We are planning on adding a hitch at some point for hitch-mounted bike rack as well, just to increase the capacity. One thing that I also don't like about the Subaru Crosstrek is right here there's a little plastic insert that you would think would be a perfect spot for a hitch. And there are some kits that you can get that allow you to do that, but in general, that's not really the point of it. I'm not sure what the point is of it. But if you want to get a hitch, it more than likely is going to sit below the bumper. Now, the Subaru Crosstrek does handle very nice on dry roads and on snowy roads. The all-wheel drive really contribute to that, as well as the fact that it's really just a car that's made to look like an SUV. I like the fact that I can take it on some mild dirt roads without worrying about damaging the undercarriage, and yet still have a vehicle that drives like a car. Inside the Crosstrek, I'm very impressed with the fit and finish and the quality of the materials. You'll see looking at it, it's got a lot of nice chrome accents. Pretty simple, but at the same time adds a nice premium feel to the car. It's got fairly soft rubber on the dashboard. Steering wheel in this model has got a nice leather wrap on it. The doors also have some soft materials. And so overall, it's just a nice combination of, you know, fairly soft, well put together materials for a car at this price point. A lot of cars that I've owned in the past, the Audi A4s and the Volkswagen Jettas, I'd say are fairly comparable with the Volkswagens. Definitely a little bit lower quality in comparison to this. Audi's a little bit higher. So I'd kind of put it between the two brands as far as quality, which is really impressive because Volkswagens of the past have really had a good reputation for being kind of higher quality, more premium feel to them. And I feel like Subaru has really made good progress in that area. The Crosstrek has pretty nice seats also, provide pretty good support, and really like the white stitching on the leather seats in these. The transmission in the Crosstrek, if you get the automatic, it comes with a manual shift mode. And so if you have the vehicle on and you shift down into drive, this is normal drive. If you bring it over to the left, that puts you into the manual shift mode. And then on the steering wheel, there are paddle shifters to upshift and downshift. It's not something that I use very often, but every once in a while driving over a mountain pass, if the car's revving back and forth between gears, sometimes I'll put it in the manual mode just to set it so that it doesn't keep switching. Up here on the dashboard, got a clock, temperature, and then there's another option here. If you press the select button on the dashboard here, you can shift through here. So here's mileage to empty, average mile per gallon, instant mile per gallon, and then a trip clock. Here you've got average mile per hour. So it's got a few settings there. on the instrument cluster, you can see in the middle you've got mileage, trip mileage, and then down the bottom right you've got miles per gallon, and that changes as you're driving. Tachometer on the left, speedometer on the right. And then we've also got steering wheel buttons here. This is fitted with Bluetooth. The buttons here, hang up the call, answer a call, voice, if you want to use voice calling through your cell phone, that works. Volume, radio channels, and then over on the right side we've got speed control. One thing that I wish I could change about the Crosstrek is it does have an outlet to plug in your phone or iPhone. So I've got the plug here, but they locate it down in the bottom of this glove box. And so if you want to, unplug it or plug it back in, you have to get down to the bottom of there. Sometimes that can be a little bit tricky if you want to use your glove box to store things. Go ahead and take it for a drive. I've been really impressed in general with the driving characteristics of the Subaru Crosstrek, for the most part. One thing that I don't like is you can see here the engine has to work pretty hard to accelerate. It's pretty quick to go to high RPMs. I'll give you another example of that, but that's one thing I wish was a little bit different about the Crosstrek, is if it just had a little bit more power. And I think that one thing that would really help with that is if they had a turbo, because you'd be able to maintain pretty good gas mileage, but have that power when you really need it. And in general at cruising speeds it's adequately powered, but when you get onto mountain passes or when you're accelerating or merging onto a highway or passing, it'd be nice to have a little more power. The Crosstrek handles really nice on, here we've got a nice windy road. Hugs the road really well. Again, that's because it's really more of a Subaru Impreza with a slight lift, nothing more than that. So it's a car that looks like an SUV, but it's nice because, again, you have the capability to go on some mild off-roading, and at the same time it drives like a car, and so you kind of get the best of both worlds. Some compromises on either end, but overall it's a pretty good balance of the two. The Crosstrek, because it has all-wheel drive, also handles really nice in snowy and icy weather. Really good handling, and for me that's one of the main reasons I bought it, because I live in an area that has pretty harsh winters, and I was looking for something that gets good gas mileage and has four-wheel drive, so it's been good for that. In general, the cabin of the Crosstrek is fairly quiet. There's a little bit of wind noise and road noise when you get to higher speeds, but again, given the price point of this car, I'd say that it's not bad. Definitely better than a lot of other Japanese automakers that are kind of competitors with Subaru. In summary, I'd say that the Subaru Crosstrek is overall a really good, solid car with a lot of good attributes that really, for me, meet my needs, and I think for a lot of other people that are looking for something that's economical, good in the snow, and stylish. I think that it really fills a nice niche, and definitely a car that I would recommend if you're okay with putting up with some of the downsides. The mostly being just the fact that it doesn't accelerate very quickly, and that the stereo is not very good. For a lot of people that's not important, and in that case I'd say that this is a great car if that fits you. But yeah, in summary, that is the Subaru Crosstrek.